In this video, we will explore the 18 most shocking religious scandals in modern history. From financial corruption to abuse of power, these events shook the world and left many questioning their faith. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel and let's get this ball rolling, shall we? In no particular order, our journey begins at number 18 in the heart of the Catholic Church, the Vatican City. The Vatican Bank, officially known as the Institute for the Works of Religion, has been embroiled in scandal for decades. Accusations of money laundering, fraud, and connections to organized crime have plagued this institution. The Catholic Church sexual abuse scandal involves widespread allegations of sexual abuse by Catholic clergy members against minors and vulnerable adults all over the world. These allegations date back decades, revealing a systemic pattern of abuse and cover-up. High-ranking church officials often transferred accused priests to different parishes, instead of addressing the misconduct which allowed the abuse to continue unchecked. The scandal has led to significant repercussions for the Catholic Church. There were legal settlements because the Church faced numerous lawsuits. Many of the lawsuits resulted in billions of dollars in settlements paid to victims. Dioceses around the world have declared bankruptcy due to the financial strain. Then there were resignations. Many high-ranking clergy, including bishops and cardinals, have resigned or been removed from their positions due to their involvement in the cover-up or direct allegations of abuse. There was also a loss of trust. The revelations have caused a profound loss of trust among the faithful and the general public. Many believers have left the Church, and its moral authority has been severely undermined. The scandal has prompted significant changes within the Catholic Church, including the implementation of stricter safeguarding policies and increased efforts to support survivors. However, the lasting damage to the Church's reputation and the ongoing calls for accountability and transparency continue to shape its future. From lavish lifestyles to questionable fundraising tactics, the world of televangelism has seen its fair share of scandals. These larger-than-life figures promising miracles and blessings often used their platforms for personal gain, leaving their followers disillusioned and questioning their trust. These scandals often involve high-profile televangelists and have included financial mismanagement, sexual misconduct, and unethical practices. The combination of immense wealth, charismatic leadership, and often limited oversight has created a fertile ground for various abuses. That brings us to number 17 on the list, Jim Bakker and the PTL scandal. Jim Bakker was the founder of the Praise the Lord PTL ministry and host of the PTL Club. He was involved in a major scandal in the late 1980s. Bakker was accused of misusing ministry funds, committing fraud, and paying hush money to cover up a sexual assault allegation. He was convicted and sentenced to prison. The PTL ministry collapsed, and the scandal highlighted issues of financial and moral misconduct within televangelism. On number 16 is Jimmy Swaggart and the sex scandal involving a prostitute. Jimmy Swaggart was a prominent televangelist known for his fiery sermons. He became embroiled in a scandal in 1988 when he was caught with a prostitute. This was followed by his tearful public confession on live television. Swaggart's ministry faced a significant decline in donations and support. He was temporarily defrocked by the Assemblies of God, and his credibility suffered a severe blow. On number 15 is Peter Popoff's faith healing scandal. Peter Popoff was a well-known faith healer who claimed to receive divine revelations about his audience members. In 1986, a skeptic named James Randi exposed Popoff's use of a hidden earpiece through which his wife was feeding him information about the audience. His fake faith healing became exposed. The impact? Popoff's ministry was discredited and he declared bankruptcy. However, he later returned to televangelism, continuing to attract followers despite his past exposure. On number 14 is Robert Tilton's prayer request and fundraising scandal. In the early 1990s, investigative journalists revealed that Robert Tilton, a televangelist known for his Success in Life broadcasts, was not preying on the multiple prayer requests sent in by his multiple followers. Rather, with impunity, he discarded the prayer requests and pocketed the donations sent with them. The revelations led to multiple investigations and lawsuits, and Tilton's ministry faced a severe decline. However, he later resumed broadcasting. On number 13, Benny Hinn's financial controversies. Benny Hinn, a televangelist known for his healing crusades, has been repeatedly scrutinized for his lavish lifestyle and questionable financial practices. Investigations have raised concerns about the use of ministry funds for personal expenses. While Hinn has maintained a substantial following, the controversies have tarnished his reputation and raised questions about accountability within televangelism. On number 12 is Creflo Dollar. Creflo Dollar is a prominent televangelist and founder of World Changers Church International. He's been involved in several controversies over the years, primarily related to financial misconduct and personal conduct. Dollar has faced criticism for his extravagant lifestyle, including owning luxury cars, a private jet, and multi-million-dollar homes. Critics argue that his wealth is at odds with his teachings and the principles of Christian stewardship. Questions have been raised about the financial transparency of his ministry. There are accusations that funds donated by followers are used to support his personal lavish expenses rather than charitable or religious purposes. In 2012, Dollar was arrested on charges of allegedly assaulting his 15-year-old daughter during a family dispute. He was accused of choking and hitting her, but the charges were later dropped after he completed an anger management program. The scandals have damaged Dollar's reputation, leading to public skepticism about his ministry's financial practices and his personal integrity. Dollar's controversies have contributed to broader criticism of the prosperity gospel movement, which teaches that faith can lead to personal financial success, often benefiting the preachers more than the followers. Despite these issues, Dollar continues to lead his church and broadcast his messages, maintaining a substantial following. The controversies surrounding Creflo Dollar highlight ongoing concerns about financial transparency and accountability within televangelism, and the potential for personal conduct issues to undermine public trust in religious leaders. On number 11 is Ted Haggard's sex scandal. Ted Haggard was a prominent evangelical pastor and founder of the New Life Church in Colorado Springs. In 2006, he was involved in a major sex scandal. He was also the president of the National Association of Evangelicals, making his fall from grace particularly shocking to his followers and the broader evangelical community. In 2006, a male escort and masseur named Mike Jones publicly accused Haggard of engaging in a 3-year sexual relationship with him and using methamphetamine during their encounters. Initially, Haggard denied the allegations, but he later admitted to some of the accusations, including sexual immorality and purchasing methamphetamine, though he claimed he never used the drugs. Haggard resigned from his positions at the New Life Church and the National Association of Evangelicals. His admission and resignation were a significant blow to his reputation and the institutions he led. The New Life Church underwent a period of crisis and leadership changes. Haggard went through a period of counseling and rehabilitation. He later attempted to re-establish himself, founding a new church and speaking publicly about his experiences and redemption. The Ted Haggard sex scandal highlighted issues of hypocrisy, accountability, and personal conduct within religious leadership, significantly impacting his career and the evangelical community. These scandals have led to a significant erosion of trust in televangelists and religious broadcasters. Many followers feel betrayed by the misuse of their donations and the moral failings of their leaders. Regulatory bodies and media have increased scrutiny of televangelists' financial practices, leading to greater transparency and accountability in some cases. The general public's perception of televangelism has been negatively affected, with many viewing it as a realm susceptible to fraud and hypocrisy. Despite these scandals, televangelism remains a powerful medium for religious outreach, continuing to attract millions of viewers worldwide. However, the legacy of these high-profile controversies serves as a reminder of the need for integrity, accountability, and ethical conduct in all forms of religious leadership. Next on number 10, the Branch Davidians and Waco Siege. The Waco Siege was a significant event in American history. In 1993, there was a deadly standoff between federal agents and the David Koresh-led Branch Davidians near Waco, Texas. The Branch Davidians is an offshoot of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. It was led by David Koresh, who claimed to be a prophet. They lived in the Mount Carmel compound and were allegedly preparing for an apocalypse. On February 28, 1993, the ATF attempted to execute a search warrant at Mount Carmel. There were allegations of illegal weapon possession and child abuse. A gunfight erupted, killing 4 ATF agents and 6 Branch Davidians. During the siege, the FBI took over, leading to a 51-day standoff. Negotiations aimed at a peaceful surrender. Deteriorating conditions inside the compound attracted intense media coverage. On April 19, 1993, the FBI launched a tear gas assault. A fire broke out, quickly engulfing the compound. 76 Branch Davidians, including Koresh, died. The fire's cause remains disputed. There were a total of 76 deaths, including many children. On number 9, Warren Jeffs and the FLDS church scandal. Warren Jeffs, the leader of the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, FLDS, was convicted of child sexual assault. His leadership style was one of strict control and the practice of polygamy, which included child marriages. Jeffs was found guilty of sexually assaulting 2 underage girls whom he had taken as spiritual wives. His conviction highlighted the systemic abuse within the FLDS community. Jeffs' conviction brought widespread attention to the abuses occurring within polygamist communities. Authorities increased efforts to investigate and prosecute abuses in the FLDS Church, leading to greater scrutiny and legal action against its practices. The case of Warren Jeffs underscored the need for vigilance and intervention in communities where abuse and exploitation are hidden under the guise of religious practices. On number 8 is Rabbi Bernard Freundel's voyeurism scandal. Rabbi Bernard Freundel was a prominent Orthodox Jewish leader in Washington, D.C. He was involved in a scandal where he secretly filmed women in a ritual bath, mikvah, without their knowledge. Freundel installed hidden cameras in the changing rooms of the mikvah and recorded dozens of women performing the sacred and private ritual. The scandal severely damaged trust within the Jewish community, particularly among those who had looked up to Freundel as a spiritual leader. Freundel was arrested, pleaded guilty to voyeurism charges, and was sentenced to prison. The scandal prompted reforms in mikveh practices and increased oversight to protect the privacy and safety of individuals participating in religious rituals. The case of Rabbi Bernard Freundel highlighted significant ethical violations and the abuse of religious authority, leading to broader discussions about privacy and trust within religious communities. On number 7, the Scientology legal battles and abuse allegations. The Church of Scientology has been embroiled in numerous legal battles and faced widespread allegations of abuse, harassment, and unethical practices over the years. The Church has faced lawsuits and government investigations related to fraud, tax evasion, and unlawful surveillance. Former members have accused the Church of physical and psychological abuse, forced labor, and intimidation tactics to silence critics and dissenters. These allegations have brought intense public scrutiny and negative media coverage to the Church of Scientology. High-profile documentaries and books such as Going Clear and Leah Remini's series have raised awareness about the Church's controversial practices. Despite legal victories and a continued presence, the Church remains controversial, with ongoing debates about its practices and the treatment of its members. The Scientology legal battles and abuse allegations have significantly impacted the Church's reputation, highlighting the need for accountability and transparency within religious organizations. Counting down to number 6, we have Marshall Maciel. Marshall Maciel was the founder of the Legion of Christ. He was revealed to have committed numerous abuses, including sexual abuse, financial misdeeds, and drug addiction, despite being a respected figure in the Catholic Church. Maciel sexually abused seminarians and fathered several children, some of whom he also abused. He misappropriated funds meant for the Legion of Christ and lived a life of luxury. Maciel was also addicted to painkillers, further tarnishing his image. The Vatican condemned Maciel, and Pope Benedict XVI ordered him to live a life of penitence and prayer, barring him from public ministry. The Legion of Christ underwent significant reforms, including leadership changes and increased oversight, to address abuses and restore credibility. The scandal highlighted the need for greater accountability and transparency within the Catholic Church and brought attention to systemic issues of abuse and cover-up. Marshal Maciel's actions and the subsequent scandal deeply impacted the Catholic Church, prompting significant reforms within the Legion of Christ and raising awareness about the importance of safeguarding against abuse within religious institutions. On number 5, the scandal of Amish beard-cutting attacks. In 2011, Sam Mullet Sr. orchestrated a string of violent incidents known as the Amish beard-cutting attacks. He was the leader of a breakaway Amish sect in Ohio. The attacks targeted other Amish community members, forcibly cutting their beards and hair, which hold religious significance. The attacks were motivated by religious disputes and personal vendettas within the Amish community. Mullet sought to humiliate those he considered to be deviating from true Amish practices. Several coordinated attacks involved Mullet's followers forcibly cutting the beards and hair of victims, acts seen as deeply offensive and degrading within the Amish culture. Sam Mullet Sr. and several of his followers were convicted of hate crimes, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. Mullet received a lengthy prison sentence. The attacks brought significant distress and division within the typically peaceful and insular Amish community. The high-profile case brought national attention to issues of religious intolerance and internal conflicts within religious groups. The Amish beard-cutting attacks underscored the potential for severe internal conflicts within religious communities and highlighted the broader issues of religiously motivated violence and the legal system's role in addressing such acts. Counting down to number 4 is John Paulk and the ex-gay movement scandal. John Paulk was a prominent figure in the ex-gay movement, which promotes the belief that individuals can change their sexual orientation from homosexual to heterosexual through therapy and religious practices. He was a key spokesperson for Exodus International, a leading ex-gay organization, and appeared on national media advocating for conversion therapy. Paulk and his wife Anne, who also claimed to have left a homosexual lifestyle, were featured on the cover of Newsweek and appeared on numerous talk shows, presenting themselves as proof that sexual orientation could be changed. In 2000, Paulk was photographed in a gay bar in Washington, D.C., which contradicted his public stance. Initially, he denied any wrongdoing, but later admitted to being in the bar. The incident severely damaged Paulk's credibility and cast significant doubt on the effectiveness and ethicality of conversion therapy. The scandal contributed to the growing criticism and eventual decline of the ex-gay movement. Later, Exodus International disbanded and issued an apology for the harm that its actions had caused. In subsequent years, John Paulk renounced his involvement in the ex-gay movement and publicly apologized for his role in promoting conversion therapy. John Paulk's story highlights the controversial and widely discredited practices of the ex-gay movement. It also highlights the personal and public conflicts faced by its leaders and the broader implications for LGBTQ+ rights and mental health practices. On number 3 is the Rajneeshpuram commune and its downfall. Rajneeshpuram was a spiritual commune established in the early 1980s in the Oregon desert. It was established by followers of Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, later known as Osho. The commune aimed to create a utopian community based on Rajneesh's teachings of meditation, free love, and communal living. Thousands of followers from around the world joined the commune, building a self-sustaining city with its own infrastructure and services. Tensions quickly rose between the commune and local residents as well as state authorities due to the group's rapid expansion, land use disputes, and confrontational tactics. In 1984, members of the commune, led by Rajneesh's personal secretary Anand Sheela, orchestrated the largest bioterror attack in U.S. history by contaminating salad bars in the Dalles, Oregon with salmonella, in an attempt to influence a local election. Over 750 people fell ill as a result of the attack. Internal power struggles and paranoia led to assassination plots against perceived enemies, including attempts on the lives of Rajneesh's doctor and an Oregon state official. Amidst growing scrutiny, Rajneesh was arrested in 1985 on charges of immigration fraud. He eventually pleaded guilty and was deported from the United States. Following Rajneesh's departure, the commune quickly disbanded, and many followers left the area. Several leaders, including Ma Anand Sheila, were convicted and served prison sentences for their roles in the bioterror attack and other crimes. The events at Rajneeshpuram left a lasting negative impact on public perception of new religious movements and highlighted the potential dangers of charismatic leadership and isolated communities. The rise and fall of Rajneeshpuram is a dramatic example of how a movement that began with promises of enlightenment and communal living descended into criminal activity and chaos, ultimately leading to its own destruction. Number 2 on our list is the scandal of the residential school system in Canada. For over a century, Indigenous communities in Canada faced the horrors of the residential school system. These government-funded schools, run primarily by Christian churches, aimed to assimilate Indigenous children into Euro-Canadian culture. The children were forcibly removed from their families and communities and placed in these schools, where they were prohibited from speaking their native languages and practicing their cultural traditions. Many children suffered severe physical and sexual abuse at the hands of school staff. The harsh disciplinary measures and rampant abuse created a climate of fear and trauma. The schools were often underfunded and overcrowded, leading to inadequate food, poor sanitation, and a lack of medical care. Many children fell ill and received inadequate treatment. The primary goal of the residential schools was to eradicate Indigenous culture. Children were punished for speaking their native languages or practicing their traditions, leading to a loss of cultural identity. Thousands of children died while attending these schools due to neglect, abuse, disease, and malnutrition. Many of the children were buried in unmarked graves, and their deaths were often not reported to their families. The legacy of the residential school system has caused profound intergenerational trauma within Indigenous communities. Survivors and their descendants continue to suffer from the psychological and cultural impacts. In recent years, there has been a significant effort to address the injustices of the residential school system. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada, TRC, was established to document the experiences of survivors and recommend steps toward reconciliation. The Canadian government and various church organizations have issued formal apologies and committed to compensating survivors. However, the path to healing and reconciliation is ongoing. The residential school system represents a dark chapter in Canada's history, highlighting the systemic attempts to destroy Indigenous cultures and the enduring resilience of Indigenous peoples in the face of such adversity. Finally, on number 1 is the story of Guru Maharaj Ji, which is both fascinating and controversial. Guru Maharaj Ji, also known as Prem Rawat, is an Indian spiritual leader who rose to prominence in the early 1970s as a teenage guru. As a young boy, he proclaimed himself the embodiment of God, attracting a devoted following. He founded the Divine Light Mission, which attracted a large following in both India and the West, with his teachings of inner peace and self-realization. Born in 1957 in India, Prem Rawat succeeded his father as the leader of the Divine Light Mission at the age of 8, after his father's death. In the early 1970s, he moved to the United States and quickly gained a significant following, particularly among young people seeking spiritual enlightenment during the countercultural movement. Rawat's teachings emphasized meditation and the experience of inner peace, which he referred to as knowledge. His followers underwent a process to receive this knowledge, which involved specific meditation techniques. The Divine Light Mission faced accusations of being a cult, with critics pointing to the organization's hierarchical structure and the young guru's lavish lifestyle. In the late 1970s, internal conflicts and legal issues led to a reorganization of the Divine Light Mission. Accusations of manipulation, financial impropriety, and a lavish lifestyle tarnished his image. Rawat shifted his focus to a more individual-centered approach and rebranded his teachings under the name Elan Vital. In recent years, Prem Rawat has continued to promote his message of inner peace through the Prem Rawat Foundation and various speaking engagements. He has distanced himself from his earlier image as a teenage guru. Despite controversies, Prem Rawat has maintained a loyal following and continues to influence individuals seeking spiritual growth and inner peace. The evolution of Rawat's teachings and organizational changes reflect his adaptation to changing cultural contexts and ongoing efforts to reach a broader audience. The story of Guru Maharaj Ji, or Prem Rawat, illustrates the journey of a spiritual leader from his early days as a teenage guru to his ongoing work promoting inner peace and self-realization. His career has been characterized by both significant influence and controversy, highlighting the challenges of leading a spiritual movement. As we've journeyed through these shocking religious scandals, we've witnessed the devastating consequences of unchecked power, greed, and hypocrisy. These events serve as a stark reminder of the importance of critical thinking, accountability, and safeguarding the vulnerable. What do you think about these scandals? Did these make it to the top of your list? Let us know in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to our channel and sharing this video if you found it helpful. Thanks for watching.